Good evening, everybody. I'm AimeeLange, and I want to thank everyone for joining me today. As my presentation will introduce my capstone project on addressing public transportation needs in Cattaraugus County, a predominantly rural region in the southern tier of New York State. As you can see, it's here highlighted in orange. Cattaraugus County spans over 1,300 square miles, making it the fourth largest county in New York. Despite its size, it has only two small cities, Olean here and Salamanca, both located along the county's southern border. While these cities offer a range of services, including public transit within and between them, much of the county remains underserved in terms of transportation access. The county also includes 3 Native American territories belonging to the Seneca Nation. Here we have the Allegheny in this lighter yellow hue, and up here is the Cattaraugus Indian Territory. And then just here on the border with Allegheny County is the Oil Springs Indian Territory. These Native American territories contribute to the county's diversity and unique mobility needs. The county currently has the 4th highest poverty rate in the state and the highest for rural counties. This slide shows the percentage of the population whose income in the past 12 months has been below the poverty level in 2022. So why does public transportation matter? Mobility is crucial for accessing education, employment, healthcare, and social opportunities. However, rural residents often face significant barriers due to limited public transit options. The lack of reliable transportation is not just an inconvenience. It has profound implications for health, economic stability, and social inclusion. For example, rural residents in the US travel nearly twice as far as their urban counterparts for medical care. This distance, combined with limited or no public transit options, often results in missed appointments and untreated health issues. Additionally, transportation barriers disproportionately affect vulnerable groups such as seniors, individuals with disabilities, and those living below the poverty line. In Cattaraugus County, these challenges are exacerbated by sparse and uneven distribution of population centers. Currently, the public transit options in the county are limited to the Seneca Transit System operated by the Seneca Nation, which connects the Cattaraugus and Allegheny territories and provides a very limited service to the general public. And as shown on the slide, the Olean Area Transit System, also referred to as OATS, which provides bus service in Olean and Salamanca with the limited coverage to surrounding areas between the two cities. And here shows the different stops that it has. While these systems meet some of the community's needs, most residents in rural parts of the county have no access to public transit and must rely on private vehicles, ride shares, or friends and family. So this capstone project seeks to bridge these gaps by identifying optimal locations using GIS tools for new public transit routes and stops using demographic and geographic data. Specifically, focus on areas with higher population density and identify vulnerable demographics such as low-income households, seniors, and zero-vehicle households who would most benefit from enhanced transit areas. For the data sources, the study relied on US Census Bureau and New York State data sets. Key sources included US Census Bureau tables with the 2020 decennial census, which provided official population counts, household data, and age demographics at the block level, and from the 2022 ACES 5-year estimates, which offered insights into poverty, vehicle availability, and disability at the block group level. Shapefiles, again, were provided from the US Census Bureau, as in the Tigerline shapefiles for the census block and group block areas, and civil boundaries from the New York State GIS Clearinghouse. The methodology diagram illustrates the project's analysis workflow. The upper section of the workflow outlines the process of integrating and joining block group data tables with the Tigerline block group shapefiles for visual analytical purposes. And the lower section details the workflow for developing public transit routes and stops, which includes adding and joining the block data tables with shapefiles followed by the suitability and network analysis. To identify potential bus stop locations using Esri ArcGIS Pro, suitability analysis was performed using 3 weighted criteria at the census block level. Population density to ensure high density areas were prioritized to serve the most residents. These numbers came from the total population table. Senior citizen counts to target areas with a significant elderly population, and this came from the sex by age for selected age categories, and household counts to also focus on areas with substantial residential presence, and this came from the tenure by age of household tables. Each criteria was ranked on a scale of 1 to 5, with higher rankings indicating greater suitability. Here's a snapshot of the ranking metrics. For the population density, blocks with densities over 141 people per square mile ranked highest. And then for senior counts, blocks with more than 20 seniors received top priority. And then for household blocks with over 41 households were ranked the most suitable. These factors were equally weighted. For the suitability analysis results, 56 blocks achieved the maximum score of 15, with 69 blocks scoring 14. The scores of 10 or higher, which were 613 blocks out of the 3,704 census blocks, were deemed the most suitable for bus stop placement. In these 613 blocks, demographic data revealed that approximately over 41,500 residents out of the county's population of 75,000 and over 22,000 households lived in the suitable blocks. While many of the blocks were identified as suitable, not all were selected for stops due to, 1, unsafe locations such as rural roads, meaning not on state or county highways. Existing services like the Oates bus service along Route 417 between Salamanca and Olean. Also considered were time and budget constraints, which influence decisions to ensure routes remain practical, with transit times capped at approximately 1 to 1.5 hours. Also considered were social economic factors such as high poverty rates, significant number of households without access to vehicles, and individuals with disabilities living below the poverty level. To identify routes, network analysis was accomplished using ArcGIS Online's network data set with the following constraints. Locate routes and stops again on county and state roads due to conditions of local roads, to include winter weather, and minimize the driving time to under an hour per route. This slide shows the proposed routes and bus stops with suitable census blocks. All routes terminate in Salamanca or Olean at an Oates stop to enable service within and between the cities. On this slide, we see the proposed routes and stops, suitable census blocks with a buffer around the routes to depict a 1.5-mile deviated service area where one can call in advance, usually the day before, and request a pickup at their location for a fee normally double to triple the fare. The next few slides will show the network analysis results in conjunction with the targeted demographics. This slide shows the proposed routes and stops again and the suitability census blocks with the deviated service areas related to population density. The census blocks with the higher population density tended to be along the county and state highways, as you can see here, and the darker hues. On this side, we see the proposed routes and bus stops in relation to the percentage of the population 65 or older. And again, areas with a higher percentage of elderly tend to be along the county and state highways. On this slide, we see the proposed routes and bus stops in relation to the number of households. And as you can see again, primarily along the major highways, which are included in the proposed bus routes. On this slide, we see the proposed routes and bus stops in relationship to the percentage of the population below the poverty level in the last year, which was in 2022 for this study. The sequential color scheme used in the map is based on the 22 poverty rates for the US, New York State, and Cattaraugus County levels. As you can see, most of the towns are below the Cattaraugus County level of 16.2. with the darker hue. On this slide, we see the proposed routes and bus stops in relation to the number of people with disabilities below the poverty level for the past year at the block group level. You see the highest one is up here in Yorkshire, also out here. And finally, the proposed routes and bus stops in relation to households without access to a vehicle for 2022, which is primarily falls on the western portion of the county along the Chautauqua County line. By using the demographic data from the US Census Bureau alongside suitability and network analysis, the study identified optimal areas for public transportation routes and stops in Cattaraugus County. So while the findings are insightful, the study did have limitations. Exact locations, the analysis identified suitable census blocks, but does not specify exact bus locations. Each proposed site requires safety and site inspections before implementation. And also behavioral insights. The study identifies potential users based on demographics, but does not predict ridership or usage patterns. The key benefits from the study include scalability. It's well suited for smaller rural and larger communities with dispersed populations in high density centers. The cost efficiency, the methodology leverages free, publicly available demographic data, saving time and financial resources. And adaptability, the GIS-based analysis allows for rapid adjustments to account for changing demographic conditions, road improvements, or closures. Also expanded services such as a deviated service that was shown in one of the slides. So in summary, the study provides a replicable, cost-effective framework for identifying suitable public transit routes and stops. While further steps such as site inspections and usage studies are needed, this methodology offers a valuable starting point for improving mobility in rural communities. By leveraging public transportation, we can help ensure access to essential opportunities and services, enhancing well-being across the region. And that concludes my presentation.